Texas A&M, 4-point favorite at Miami this Saturday. 3:30 Eastern kick, ABC. Friendly reminder, 4 quarters of football this Saturday is not really going to change a whole heck of a lot about Jimbo Fisher or Mario Cristobal. Reminder number 2, what I just said is not going to matter. It's not going to factor in because one of these fan bases is about to totally freak out and lose their minds when they lose this football game. And the winner will be hyped to the absolute moon. If it's Miami, they're back. If it's A&M, they're back again. And Bobby Petrino was the magic elixir. So let's dive into this. I watched the entire Miami versus Miami of Ohio game the other day because I was down there a couple months ago and I know what I think my eyes saw, but I wanted to see it in real life. I wanted to see it in a football game. Now, I know it's Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio, by the way, had a top 20 run D last year, and virtually all those guys are back. So it wasn't a bad test, and Miami's offensive line looked good. Total different unit. And so, I mean, they ran the ball all over the place, and I really think they scaled down their offensive game plan in doing so. But here's the issue. As dominant as I'm not going to say dominant, as improved to this point as I think their offensive line is, this could be a bad matchup for them, man. Like A&M's got, I hate saying dudes because everyone else says it, but they got some dudes. They really do. And so I think it's a bad matchup. Or is it? I know what the paper says. The paper says bad matchup. And on paper, A&M should be able to bottle that thing up at least to the point where they make Tyler Van Dyke win the game. And if they have to make Miami win the game through the air, it is a very valid question. Is that passing game where it needs to be yet? They questioned their wide receiver group throughout fall camp. They've got Shannon Dawson, a new offensive coordinator in there. I think this offense will eventually be pretty good down the road. Is it ready to throw the ball to win a game early? And that's if they have to. I know it was only New Mexico last week for Texas A&M, but I got to ask, is the A&M passing experience real? Is Connor Wigman really that guy? Is Bobby Petrino really ready to rev the engines here? You know what I did. Yeah, I did. I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. That is below the standard that we operate this show in accordance with. But since I already said it, vroom, vroom, baby. Like, if they're back, it's going to be really fun to watch because that's a top 5 talent roster in the sport. And if what they did against New Mexico or State or whichever one they played last week, if what they did in the passing game is what they're about to bottle up and do every week, they can win any game they play. They can be a playoff team. That's how good their talent roster is. Now, that's a long way down the road because it could come crashing to earth this Saturday for all I know. The reason I didn't necessarily care about the quality of opponent last week was because I just wanted to see things in theory play out. Like, I wanted to see an offensive coordinator willing to just press those buttons because they've played bad competition before and struggled to put 30 on them. So, yeah, maybe it was just New Mexico, but it was also 52 points. And they don't do that, even against bad competition, nearly to the degree they should. If it's clicking, they got Evan Stewart on this team. If it's clicking, they got Noah Thomas on this team. They got Aniyah Smith on this team. Evan Stewart, by the way, had 8 catches for 115 and 2 touchdowns last week. This could be his breakout moment. Should be a star already. Like, Evan Stewart's the truth. He just needs to be in a truth-based offense. I don't know if anyone's running the truth offense out there, but they need to be running it at A&M because if they do, Evan Stewart is about as good as anyone out there at his position. Here's the key. They have got to, at Miami, they've got to do what we would call the bait and pick approach. They got a good pass rush at Miami. Now, you got to earn the right to rush the passer, so you got to stop the run on early downs, and you got to earn the right to have your guys get after it. But the old bait and pick is find A&M feeling a little bit too good about that passing game a little bit too early. And let those pass rushers get after Connor Wigman. And let them force some errant throws, maybe force some fumbles, maybe force a pick, steal a possession or two, and then play your game. Maybe, then take your chances. Miami's DBs, by the way, Cam Kitchen back there is playing about as good as any safety in the country. That's why he was a preseason Pate State All-American, mind you. So this can happen. Like, I know a lot of my Aggie friends think 4.5 is easy money. It's free money, which, as we know, doesn't exist. Even on the Ramen Noodle Express, doesn't exist. But there's a reason why that line's only 4.5. Well, there's still a lot to be ironed out on both sides, quite frankly. So let's look at the Vegas number. I just told you, A&M minus 4.5. What does our model think? I actually thought our model would be much bigger on this, but it's not. It agrees. Our model has A&M minus 4. And so where do I go with this? It's a pure gut play. Miami played 15 true freshmen last week, as they should. Because a lot of their true freshmen are the best athletes on that team. But when I'm on the fence about a game like this, and I know I'm going to have to rely on that many young kids, I sit there and think you're a year away. And I think in games like this, where you've got an ultra-physical matchup, not disadvantage, but matchup issue, I just take the more seasoned, veteran, talented team that I think's figuring things out offensively. So I'm going to take A&M to win. I'm going to take A&M to cover. I think it could be the kind of game where Miami, if they win, forget everything I just said. If they lose, though, it could be the kind of game where they lose, but you say, you know what, even in a loss today, I'm feeling the direction we're going. Give us another year and let's play that game again, and I think it turns out different. I think that's where we're headed in this game.